Righty-ho, let's do this. Hello folks, of course, 9 o'clock, Sunday night, UK time. It can mean only one thing. Sunday Nighter. With me, your host, Mel the Train Tutor. That one's new, innit? Hello folks. Oh, stretch. End of the weekend. Start of work tomorrow. Back to it. How are we all? Right. Don't mention the UK weather. We'll only end up with Brits moaning for 20 minutes about how hot it is. Actually, yeah, it's raining, so Brits are quite happy. Yeah, the sky is grey. There's wet. The ground is wet. There's this moisture falling from the sky. And we are quite comfortable in this environment, so we're quite happy with the weather tonight. Right, the Google Doc is open. This is a question and answer show. The link is down below. If you've got any terrain related questions or any interesting questions or any questions, tell you what, throw them down in the Google Doc. You don't need to be logged in. The link is down below in the description. Just hit the link. Yeah, you'll be taken to a form. Leave your screen name, what platform you're on, whether you're on YouTube, Twitch or Facebook, and then leave your question in the box. And we'll get to those in about 10 minutes. But in the meantime, yeah, ramble. I thought this was a studio stream. No, Sunday nights are always at home. I think I think the YouTube streaming threw up the old heading and description for the last stream. It does that occasionally. It has a bit of a wobbler. Yeah, but no, this is the Sunday night stream. Right, so that's me get my comments up. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Nice and big so I can see them clearer than that. I can see them there. Yeah, that should do us. Hoodie on, question answered. There you go. I'm envious, sweating like a beast over here. Oh, we had that. We suffered. We recovered. It started raining, we were happy. Diggers, thank you, buddy. Yeah, Thursday nights are our studio builds. This Thursday night I'll be messing around with teddy bear fur. Yeah, I've had some more of it turn up, so I've got quite a bit of teddy bear fur now. Thank you, diggers. Yeah. Beyond that, what you call it? I'm messing around with a bit of playing around with a few kits and stuff like that for mine and Corbyn's sort of Legion build. Sci-fi Melloween. Avoiding IP issues. And what you call it? So we've got that going on. Then obviously there is the ongoing battle of the book. The battle of the book. The book has just become an ongoing job. I'm about halfway through at the moment, just over halfway through. So things are looking really good. The pacing is good. Page-wise, I'm halfway through, but I've done the heaviest of the workload because the first half contains the most words. So I'm actually on the downward slope. So I'm in a very happy place right now, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, book-wise. Yeah, have we got any questions coming in? Remember, guys, I am going to need your questions or this is going to be a very short show. Other than that, been working on some rocks for you. Tuesday, you have sandstone. Striated sandstone technique. So, hopefully you'll find that useful. Beyond that, I haven't really been working on much terrain other than the book stuff, to be perfectly honest, guys. I know. Mel's getting a bit of a dull boy terrain-wise. I have been working on stuff, you know what I mean? It's just all book. I've got some beautiful hills, but I can't tell you about them. So, right, come on. We got any questions? No questions? This is going to be a short show. Hey, Sander. Hey, Dunk. Hey, Cat. Digger's never at home for Thursday night builds. Well, once I get the books done, I want to start doing a few more builds through the day. So there'll probably be other builds at other times. So chances are you're going to get a chance to see a live build. Even if you're not normally around, Thursday time, evenings UK time. Never thought I'd be excited about sandstone. I get excited about all sorts of things. Bill saying I just answered his question. Damn. So plenty of new names in tonight. Welcome, folks. Now, what's the best base for a 1 to 35th scale diorama? I know you don't do that scale. 1/35. To be truthful, you want to get onto the wooden plinths for that sort of stuff, don't you? You can get them on eBay. You can get them at you can get them on Amazon and stuff like that. Wooden display plinths or trophy plinths. The basic wooden pieces that they've just got beveled edges and that sort of stuff. You can get them pre-varnished, but just buy them just buy them as plain pine. They're normally pine. We got some for Kez a while ago for something we were working on. Casting hands, I think we were doing. Yeah, but they're probably the best diorama bases. And what I'd recommend that you do is you actually build your diorama on top of a piece of plasticard. Place a plasticard on top of greaseproof paper. Build your diorama onto that, okay? And then what will happen is you'll have a nice flat base, but you'll be able to peel it off. Yeah, your plasticard when it's all off, when it's all painted and everything, seal it, and then it's a simple matter of just putting it down on the wooden plinth, and that way you don't get any contamination of your paint or your pigments, your fillers, all that sort of stuff onto the plinth as you're making your diorama. So build your diorama on a thin sheet of plasticard. Yeah, if you've got round plinths, the sort of ones that are about that big. Yeah, CDs are great for building up and then just gluing on. And then all you got to do is just cover the edges. Varnish up your plinth and then just drop it straight on the top. Nice and clean. Did you buy the jigsaw? I certainly did. It's beautiful. And I got it on discount as well, so it's a really good model. Yeah. What was your biggest terrain failure? Biggest terrain failure. I mean, I've had times when I've come in and, in the early days, before I understood the ruinous powers of the warp, I've sprayed like sets with watered down PVA, and they've all warped and turned into spinners, where the edges warp up so you can spin them round on your table and they just spin on a point. I've done that a few times. Yeah, this question comes up quite a bit, and I always bounce back to the answer that it's very hard to completely screw up a terrain set. Yeah, I mean, even all those pieces that had warped, all I did with them was just sellotaped a big sheet of sandpaper down onto my desk and just move them round in a circle like that until the bases were flat again. Yeah, and then just give them a bit of a paint and then they were fine. But you've really got to do something pretty impressive, yeah, to ruin an entire terrain piece. You know what I mean? Everything's recoverable. I mean, I remember Mike from Terrainiacs telling me about when he did his big ocean boards, and I think there was something like 22 ocean tiles he was working on. Yeah, and he'd done the resin, and he built up all the waves, and he didn't use an acrylic base. He used resin to build up the waves, essentially casting them and sculpting them, yeah, embedding them and building them up. And then he put a final sealing coat across all the tiles. Yeah, and it bubbled across all 22 tiles. Yeah, and what it meant was that he had to spend 8 hours with a Dremel removing the waves and the top coat from absolutely all the boards to get them all back down to a level surface so he could start again. So, even when a terrain error is so fundamentally bad and breaks a board, it's still fixable. It requires some work, but it's still fixable. Frank's saying I'm the lone twitcher. Thank you, buddy. Well, someone else on Twitch right now, clearly. Right, how are my questions looking? Oh, I've got 7. Right. Looks like we're getting there. Quick look at the comments, then I'll jump into some questions. Remember, guys, yeah, this is a question and answer show. I do need your questions, otherwise we haven't got much to talk about. I can see I'm going to start to have topics. Not the chocolate bar, yeah, but something to talk about for perhaps half an hour or so. I have been saying, you know what I mean? Ask the question in the doc, just think it will yield an interesting answer for all of us to learn from. Oh, I worry about those. All right. Right, anyway, as I was saying, this is a question and answer show. Links down below, yeah, to the Google Doc. And also, if you're enjoying the information, if it does help you, if you enjoy the channel, Remember, guys, we are collecting a bit of money towards materials for doing the teddy bear fur terrain lab. Links down below to throw a couple of nuggets. Nuggets. Where's the it's from? Nuggets. Quits. I don't know. Nuggets. Couple of nuggets. Yeah, that's confused me. Where's the it's come from? Nuggets. Couple of nuggets from what you call it. Send over a couple of nuggets. Yeah, that'll go in the pot. I think we need about 35 just to total off the things that we need. Yeah, so I've got the teddy bear fur from the last show. Thank you guys for supporting that. So if you like the show, links down below. Nickel nuggets? Yeah, well, we don't use the term nickels. That's an American term. I don't know. That one's got me. What? Oh.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to
I was wondering why Kez is telling me to go and lie down, then I realised she's talking to the dog. If you really want me to go and have a lie down, darling, I can, but you'll have to do my live show.
No, you're right.
No, you're right. All right, then looks like I'm staying. Right, okay, let's do some questions, because I enjoy the questions. Better than my aimless rambling, my topicless rambling.
I found a nugget. Corbyn's washing.
You found a nugget in Corbyn's washing. I called it a nigget.
A nugget?
Yeah, what's a nigget?
I have no idea.
No, neither do I, and I can't figure out, monetary-wise, what's the it. Do you know what I mean? Right. Warner's End is asking, watching on YouTube. Evening, Mel. I'm in the process of making a wire armour to trees and I need a recommendation for a spray adhesive for attaching the foliage. Any suggestions? Dead easy, mate. What you want is you want a spray adhesive, yeah, but you want a repositional one. Okay, often called mounting adhesive. Blue Tack, 3M, both out do good versions. There's two sorts of spray adhesives. There's the fine mist temporary ones, and then there's like this more heavy duty ones which are used for laying down carpets and that sort of stuff, and it sprays out like these thick strings of very gloopy latex spray. They are not what you are after, yeah, for working with trees. The repositional stuff, yeah, is designed for like mounting pictures and stuff like that. So you'd spray a board, put your picture on, and if it wasn't quite level...
a little nugget, and you did the nugget instead of little. I don't know.
It's really...
I'm in here now trying to think what word...
It's really bothering me as well, to be truthful. I'm not sure. Yeah. But like I said, the repositional spray is designed so you can put your pictures on and then peel them back off and readjust it and get them lined up. Yeah, but it emits a very fine spray, which is what you want for attaching foliage. Now, you want to use a latex-based glue, because once you've attached your foliage, you want to seal it. Now, you want to seal that with watered-down PVA. If you use a PVA-based product, yeah, to attach your foliage, then when you hit it with a watered-down spray, it will reactivate that PVA and all your leaves will fall off. Yeah, if you use a latex glue, yeah, spray latex glue, that will hold all the leaves on whilst the watery, PVA seal is drying and sealing it, because water doesn't reactivate latex glue. It only reactivates watered down PVA glue, because, the solvent for PVA is technically water. There you go. So there's your answer. You want a spray, temporary repositional spray glue. 3M, Blue Tack, both do good brands. I can't comment on the others, haven't used them. Hope you like the answer. As always, if you do, yeah, links down below to say thank you. Mel created a new world called the English Dons at Oxford. Nah. A small nugget. I don't know if you can go for a small nugget. Oh, that's a good brew. Right, I've got 11 questions now. Right, as always, yeah, if anyone's got any other things that they can chip in with this, I do keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, so if you've got a little thing, throw it into the chat and I'll add that onto the chat anyway. Right, Joanne's watching on YouTube. Making a river on a mat. How do I make it look as good as possible? A river and not just blue paint. Right, the best solution for this, and the reason we know this is because we've been working with mats recently. And back when I did the Mats Terrain Labs, we looked at various water products for creating rivers on maps. Yeah, and we tested various acrylic products and various water-based, not water-based, acrylic still water products. And the best one that we got for the whole thing was actually transparent silicon sealant. Okay, specifically silicon. We put it down and we stippled it. That gave us a really nice water texture. And the fact is, silicon is incredibly flexible, more flexible than the acrylic caulking mat that it was based on. So you can get that 3D detail and that rough water look, yeah, whilst still being able to roll up your mat. So silicon sealant from the hardware store. What I would do is I would paint your river on and then apply the silicon sealant over. So you've still got those blues and, you know, maybe some greens and maybe some browns underneath, depending on the sort of river you're doing. Yeah. And then you've got the sort of the splashy water effect with your silicon. With regards to applying it, I use a cheap, a cheap plastic spatula, and I just stipple it, slide it on, stipple it along. I don't like it. Nigget is too close to a bad word and could be taken the wrong way. To be perfectly honest, I was a little bit concerned when it came out of my mouth as well. It was like, hey up, that's a bit close. Yeah, that's a word I just simply don't use, and I've never felt the need to use, to be truthful. Yeah. Sometimes I have to pull Willow up on it, to be perfectly honest, because there's a lot of pop songs that'll include it, and it's like, nah. But yeah, bizarre. But as I said, silicon, smear it over, stipple it. Yeah, it'll give you a great water texture. Yeah, that is rollable. Bill's telling me it's pronounced silicone. As in an ice cream cone. What, a silly ice cream cone? The day I pronounce things right will be the day I get a gold play button. Right, so yeah, what you call it? That's how I would tackle doing a river on a mat, mate. Yeah, simple, watch that silicon. Silicone. Right, hope that helps you, buddy. Yeah, if you've got any follow-up questions, yeah, throw them into the questions or jump them into the comments, Joanne. Right. I do need to keep a chat on the PayPals because I don't get notifications of them anymore. I think we've got diggers. I don't think we've got anyone else. Remember, guys, if you do donate during a live stream, I will give you a shout out. No. Right. John saying, awesome, thanks. Giving that a vid. A look. Lucky I got a tube in the shop. Yeah, what shall it? The last Thursday stream, mate. Go and have a watch at that because that's where we looked through the battle mats. So you'll actually have a look at the piece that I was messing around and how I'm comparing the different pieces. That's probably the better one. Of course, you can go back and have a look at the last of the acrylic mat videos. Oh, what a woman! Oh, it's still hot. I'm having both, woman. You know, she brings one, but she thinks she's taking a toothache. Get off, woman. Shocking.
You'll be wanting to pee in 5 minutes.
I'll neck that brew. Right. Yeah, Thursday, last Thursday stream. Yeah, go and have a look at last Thursday stream. Yeah. Mel, your face is very lit up. Are you shining a light? I don't think so. Just 1 second. Let me switch my webcam off and on again. I know it's a bizarre one, but yeah, there is a reason. Where's my webcam box? Video capture device. Come on. Oh. I'm gone. See, I've disappeared. And I'm back again. It is rather bright, isn't it? It's because, the main lights haven't been switched on, that's why. It's that time of year where it goes dark very quickly, and so I think, I forgot to switch the main lights on. PG tips? No, coffee. Right, Norm is asking, what paint did you eventually get for the teddy bear fur? What other supplies? Well, I've got the teddy bear fur. Yeah, I've got the acrylic paint. I've got some Draylon dyes coming. That is the right term for them. I ordered them a while ago. And there's a few other little bits and bobs that I want to get as well. So that's where I am with the teddy bear. I'm hoping, next Thursday we'll be able to start playing with it. Yeah. Quite interested to see how that pans out. I've been doing a lot of research, that sort of stuff, within reason. And we'll have to see, where we are with that moving forward. Right, Bill's asking. Right, remember guys, if you do have a question for me, get it in the Google Doc in the description. Yeah, I may have to throw the Google Doc into the comments because I have a feeling, that there'll be people on Twitch and Facebook who don't have the link in the description, although it should be there. Right, there's my comments. Restream chat, let's throw that in there. Right, there's the Google Doc for you if you need it. Yeah, but if you've got a question, throw it in there, guys. Okay, Bill and I were... how do you deal with blending paints into cream colours when those colours are so chalky? Some colours just soak up paint like a sponge. You may have to be a little bit more descriptive with the with your question, Bill. I'm not sure what you mean by how do you deal with blending paints into cream colours. You see, I only really use creams as a final highlight. Yeah, and so generally a cream, you're only really tinting, it with the original base colour. I mean, you can mix it in earlier as a highlight. Yeah, but it does go chalky. I mean, it's okay for rocks and stuff like that. But generally, when you're using cream, it's a final highlight, and generally it's tinted, so I don't it. Yeah, some colours just soak it up paint like a sponge. Okay, I'm not sure on that one. Repose your question, Bill. Welcome aboard. Okay, Digger's got a question. All right then, buddy. Yeah, I'm getting ready to do a diorama. I'm going to do an abandoned tractor truck frame and some junk scattered around. How long should I let the sculptor mold set before pressing those pieces into it to make it look like they've been there for a long time? Yeesh, right, difficult one because I've never actually used sculptor mold as a product. I always make my own sort of like bulking gloops. But the premise of how to decide when to work with it is quite simple. What you want is you want it firm, but not set. And the way to judge this is when you lay your sculptor mold down, or whatever, if you make your own bulking filler, whether you use filler, whether you use Artec or ceiling stucco, or whether you use like a casting powder, everything from plaster of Paris all the way through to hydrocal and Cristacal and Merlin's Magic and all those, thrown in with some tissue to make a bulking gloop. Yeah. When you're working with those sort of things and you want to embed things in them or put tracks in them or footprints or anything like that, what I normally do is I'll lay down the sculptor mold on my piece, and at the same time, the same stuff, I'll take, perhaps a third of it, and I'll just lay it on a strip of board, next to it, and I'll lay it in little clumps. Yeah, and what that allows me to do is over time I can come along with a few different things, while my piece is drying, and I'll go, that's still gloopy. Leave that. Then I'll come back 5 minutes later and I'll go, oh, it's still gloopy. Yeah, and this is on my test piece. And the moment I get to the stage where I reach like, all right, I can start to push these in, I can shape these, I can get details in them. It's firm enough that if I press details in it, it won't go soft and melt the details because of the moisture in it. There's sort of that fine balance. Yeah. And so as soon as on my test piece that I've reached the time that I know, is roughly right. Yeah. I know it's time that I can go and do that work on my main piece. Now, that's the way to do it if you don't know the cure time. I've been doing it a lot. I've been making my own sculptor molds and that sort of stuff for quite a while now, and I've got to the stage where I can look at it and pretty much judge simply by the colour of it, you know, and how reflective it is of light, you know, the moisture content and how dry it is. Now, this is varied by how thick it's put down. Yeah, if you put a large amount of sculptor mold down, yeah, the top surface will dry, giving the impression that you can work with it. But there's still a lot of moisture underneath in there. Yeah, and what will happen is that moisture will get drawn up, yeah, and into it, and it will soften your details. Yeah, whereas if it's just a thin layer, if that's gone stodgy, then there's no moisture underneath it to re-soften it. So if you've got if you've got a particularly heavy layering of sculptor mold or a glooping, a bulking gloop, yeah, what you need to do is you need to sort of keep an eye on it if you're putting detail in it, and maybe come back, yeah, at a second stage and just reaffirm that detail. It might soften if it's quite bulky. If it's quite thin, then if it's firm enough to put your detail in, the detail will stay. Yeah, simply blend it like that. If you want stuff to sink into the ground and look like it belongs in the ground, the best way of doing it is push those little bits in, and then with a little bit of water, just brush around the edges. That'll re-soften the area and just let it flow a little around the around, say, an embedded tyre, or, you know, part of a truck that's sunken into soft mud. But what it won't do is it won't sort of force the ground texture unnaturally up against the side. So it'll give you that nice sort of level, yeah, but without that sort of like curving of the edges that you get if you just push it in. So when you push your bits in, if you want to embed it, push it in, yeah, little bit of water on your brush, wet round the edges, so it seeps and it creeps up to it and meets it nice and level. Right, diggers, I think I've nailed that question. Yeah, if there's any other tips, guys, yeah, throw them in the comments, and I'll keep an eye on that. Everyone's talking teddy bear fur. Someone's saying perhaps the lights are to do with the computer screen. Now that could be something. Let me try something. Oh my god, that makes a difference. And then I'm lighter now. Now I'm darker. Now I'm lighter. Now I'm darker. Right, sussed it. It's my question, Doc. It's essentially a white page, so essentially it's a huge white light. I got oh, kill her. Okay, let's cut my hair. She's giving me a... Does that look like it comes to a point? It does, doesn't it? Right. Very good, and thank you, Mel. No worries, diggers, and thank you for your support, buddy. It is appreciated. I can unplug that now. I believe. Oh, someone sent. Mike N sent a $5. Thanks for watching all the great info, Mike. No worries, bud. Thank you for your support. It is genuinely appreciated. Right, getting there towards the teddy bear stuff so we can do the teddy bear tutorial. Right, let me get back to the questions then. So yeah, that's how I'd handle dealing with putting details into sculptor mold. And the same things holds true to things like just simple layers of filler applied down. You know, any sort of wet putty. Yeah, you want it dry enough that it's firm but it's still malleable. Yeah, and remember, bulk makes a difference. Okay, question 6 of 12. A mini Melhawk. I'm going to have to cut my hair after this. I'll get the clippers out. Right, Pete C. Okay, hey Mel, just had a go at a cork mat. Just out of interest, how did you get rid of the creases in the plastic-backed ground sheet? I found that the creases in the plastic just kept coming back even after ironing. I only used a medium heat iron as it was giving off a burning plastic smell. Right. Iron over, I get a dishcloth, mate, or a tea towel. Iron over that. Yeah, if you're going to iron it. Now, I didn't have Hello, Trouble.
Hello, just me.
Just you, not the gang.
No, the gang are upstairs playing Roblox because one of them got locked out of their account.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've got a bedroom full of mates at the minute, haven't you?
I've got a bedroom full of my best mate and then her little sister.
Yeah, we're looking after an extra child. We had a sleepover and it expanded.
It's going to be 4 days.
What?
4 days.
What do you mean 4 days?
Well, they came on the Friday.
Oh. Right, okay, yeah, so
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it's going to be Monday.
Right, that's okay. I thought it was going to be 4 more days. I was like, it's been a long weekend.
Can we?
No.
Not with the mini one or anything, just...
You can go and stay for a few days if you like.
Can I?
Well, you have my permission, but I don't think you've got an invite. There's a big difference.
Hey, Mum.
Right, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, okay, getting back to the, the question. The question. Just 1 second, let me pull that up. I'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, without making my screen really white. Yeah, I didn't have creases in mine. Yeah, I mean, I had some vague creases, but when I they disappeared when I strung, I pinned the mat down to my board to make it taut. Yeah, and then when I applied it, so I didn't have any problem with any creases. Yeah, so I don't know what to tell you, dude, to be truthful. I mean, there must be serious creases to keep coming back even after acrylic caulking has been laid down on it. Pete, email me some photos, mate. Let me have a look. And I'll see if I can help you by email, dude. So, sorry I can't help you more, but, you know, I've got a couple of sentences to go on a situation I've never experienced. So it's a bit difficult to sort of give you some tips without seeing it, mate. So tell you what. Email me that one, and I'll jump on my emails, probably tomorrow now, but email it me. Send me some pictures, yeah, and I'll get back to you, Pete, and let you know. And then you can update us on a future stream on how we did. Sorry I can't be more help right now, mate. Alright, moving on. We have Dave C. Hey Mel, how do you go about getting paint to set when applied to silicone rubber tube? I've tried it. It's applied to a silicone rubber tube. I've tried it, but it just stays tacky. Right. Silicone can contain all sorts of interesting things that when you apply paint to it, affects the way the paint cures. This is why you have unpaintable silicone and paintable silicone, because the paintable silicone will have a different recipe that allows it to be painted. Looking at you saying it just stays tacky, my guess is the reason it stays tacky is you've used unpaintable silicone. And so the chemicals that are inside silicone, yeah, are affecting the paint and stopping it curing. Yeah. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is unlikely to improve. Yeah, you may have to take the silicone off and just, I'm guessing that if it's silicone, you've tried to use it for water effects. Yeah. There's a thing that if you can smell something, it is chemically active. Okay, so it is not inert, it is not set. So if you can still smell silicone, especially that real vinegar smell, yeah, it's still giving off gases. yeah, which are going to affect the things around it. And this applies to all sorts of materials. Same with spray primers. If you can smell spray primer, yeah, it's still curing. There's still a chemical process going on. So, first off, never apply paint to something that smells. Yeah, if you can sniff it, it ain't ready for paint yet. Yeah, if you are using silicone, yeah, look for paintable silicone.
Can you open up the door, Dad?
Yeah, sure, so.
I'm trying to carry 3 cups, one for each girl.
Go on then, darling.
What are you? There's this model, 3 packets of crisps.
Oh, yes?
Oh, yes, what?
You have a look to you.
What's that?
I don't know. You just have a look to you. So, Dave, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have a feeling you've used unpaintable silicone, mate. Either that or you've thrown it on before it's cured, and the silicone curing process, the gases that come off, have affected the paint. If it is paintable silicone and it was just that you threw it on the paint on too early, you can get a wet rag, wipe the paint off, yeah, and then reapply it. Okay, once assuming the silicone isn't giving off gases and doesn't smell anymore. If the silicone isn't paintable, you may have to get a blade, take the silicone off, yeah, and then just get paintable silicone and reapply that. Alright, I hope that... Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, buddy, but unfortunately, yeah, it's the way it goes. Whoa, Willow the waitress. It's only because she's been hospitable. Right. We're on 8 of 14. Everyone's talking about small area, everyone's talking about ironing plastic and small area water effects. Okay, it's a general one for us. Okay, Leo watching on YouTube. Not related to terrain or wargaming or D&D, but close enough. Alright? Yeah. I want to get a World War II kit to build and paint. Never done it before, but looking for a challenge. Looking for a challenge. Yeah? Any recommendations for you or your chat? Right. Is it Italia who do the World War II tank models with all the brass etch and the ridiculous detailing? Yeah, I think it is. And if it is, Leo, I would recommend you get an Italian model kit. Yeah, but I'm going to throw this over to the terrainiacs in the chat. Yeah, because I don't really do models. I do, yeah, but my knowledge of models is like that. You know, I know what I know and I don't know much. It's a simple way of putting it on the model front. Waiting for things to properly dry is one of the hardest things we have to do. We're all so impatient. Well, true. Let's see, just check I'm not missing any important comments. On Twitch 2, YouTube 92. Yeah, that's about normal. I need to figure out the Twitch thing, but that's going to have to be... Tamiya, people are saying. Tamiya Sherman E8, people are recommendation. Yeah, buy an Airfix 172 kit with 200 parts. Do like my Mustang. I still need to build this. I tell you, I haven't seen any photo etch. Right, so I'm assuming it's Tamiya then. So yeah, Tamiya seems to be the recommendation from the chat. In fact, there's another one. Children. Girls having a sleepover. This is not going to end well. Right. So Leo, yeah. People are generally saying Tamiya. Other options, Italia, and Airfix. But there's some good kits there for you. Right, moving on. Hope it helps you, buddy. If you are enjoying it, links down below. Right, I'll do a quick shout out. Make sure we're not missing anyone. No, not missing anyone. We're good. Dragon tank kits do some really nice detail kits. Never heard of Dragon.
Ava's just saying, well, I was taking a drink of milk up. She says, I don't like milk. And Mouse goes, you haven't done your breakfast? She says, yeah, but I don't like the milk at school. She says, it's not school milk, it's breakfast milk.
Right, okay. Right, David's got a question for us. Mal, any advice on building an underground cavern so the walls can be moved for different game scenarios used in Frostgrave? Yeah. Basically, you're talking like the D&D setup, aren't you? Yeah. What you want to do is you want your board to be as a flat surface. Yeah, completely flat. That's so you can drop scattered terrain down on them and they fit really well. And then what you want to do is you want to make your cavern walls, and the best one for this is hot wire cutters. Yeah, if you can get a hot wire router, that's great. If not, a bit of clever cutting and you can do it. And basically what you want to do is you want to make apple cork, walls. And apple cork walls basically start like that and they go up. Now you can just do one side of it. Yeah, so you get that sort of concaveness of a cavern wall. Yeah. Generally, I like to do two sides because that way I can throw them down and, I don't have to worry that one side isn't actually for the table. So if I can throw a piece down and they can go round it, if you know what I mean. Do a load of do a load of columns, wall pieces, that sort of stuff. Generally, a few large wall pieces. Yeah, make them modular so you can attach them and define the area of the cavern. Yeah, have smaller pieces, so about that big, or depending on your play size, that you can drop into that defined area, okay, to sort of make, sub-caverns and to break it up. Lots of like column pieces, very much like apple cores. Drop those in as well. Yeah, and then you want stalagmites, mites, tights hang down. Yeah, so you want stalagmite clusters building on scatter pieces that you can drop in, that are built up from moisture dropping down from the ceiling. And that's the best way that I would do an underground cavern. Yeah. And the walls are still movable. You're never going to get it perfect. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're never going to get that sort of really drill down detail without going crazy modular. Yeah, so sometimes you just have to accept that you're going to be making a few big caverns and we might have a few awkward joins, that sort of stuff. But yeah, the idea of define the cavern walls, use large irregular pieces to break the cavern up into individual smaller caverns, and then create scatter piece terrain, making individual apple columns or stalagmite clusters or anything else you want to throw in there, mate. Yeah. And that's how I would tackle that, doing an underground cavern. Right. Hope that helps you, Dave. Or if it does, links down below. Right, I'll see if anything comes up in the comments. People are talking cobblestones. The quickest way of doing cobblestones. From my point of view, textured roller, or just buy embossed wallpaper and just cut it out, glue it down. Right, moving on with the questions. 10 of 15. We are 45 minutes into the show. I have another 5 questions to go. I'm on my second brew. Let's do this. JP, right. Right, I've been drilling a lot of holes in concrete at work lately. Do you think that the concrete dust would make a good basing filler cover instead of sand? And you see, looking at it, I would say yes. But someone once told me something about concrete, about when you wet it and you glue it and that sort of stuff, it's rather acidic. Yeah, and it can affect the other paints and that sort of stuff. Now, this is one of those where I'm not actually sure about this, to be perfectly honest, mate. Yeah, but I have heard it. Yeah, and I haven't experimented with it because I've never had the opportunity, or I've never really got round to it because I always use sand and stuff like that. But I have heard, that you can have problems with acidity, it being acidic, concrete dust. So I'd experiment with it first. If anyone's got any sort of, any knowledge on that, actual knowledge, let us know in the comments. But I can't think of much more than that, JP, to be perfectly honest. Did it? Right. Moving on with your questions. Tetrix. Hey, love your work. I've just started to do a diorama and I've made the base out of clay. Should I spray paint over it with matte black and dry brush with different greys, or paint over and sponge with a different colour? Completely down to you, mate, to be perfectly honest. If you're thinking about dry brush with different greys, I'm assuming it's some sort of rocky base. Yeah, because greys. Clay tends to be a rather flat. Dry brushing suits materials that are rather angular. Has ridges and cracks and stuff like that the dry brushing can brush against to highlight. Yeah, whereas clay tends to be a lot smoother. So I would go for sponging as my painting technique over dry brushing. With regards to what colours, it depends on the rock you want to do, mate. Yeah, we've got the realistic rock series going on. I think, we've done the stippled rock technique. Yeah, so you can jump on that and just follow that one. That works really well. But I think that will give you your best, your best results with a smooth surface over dry brushing. So go with stippling. My big concern is clay isn't the best basing material. Yeah, if it's air drying clay, it will reduce volume as it dries as the moisture evaporates off. Yeah, now the problem with that is that may cause warping and cracking. If it does, the quick fix, is you can smooth a bit of filler over any cracks, fill them that way. Yeah, if the edges do warp up, when it's completely dry, you can put it on sandpaper, give it a spin around, flatten it back off. But just keep an eye on that, mate, because I'm a little bit concerned about that. Yeah, but like I say, with the painting technique, if it's a smooth surface, you really want to go for a stippling technique over a dry brush technique, mate. Yeah, hope that helps you, buddy. Okay, here's a question for you. Okay, Frank Bree, watching on Twitch. Is a hot wire cutter really needed for the craft? I have too much already, according to my wife. No, it isn't. I know there will be people who swear down, by their hot tools and their Proxons and that sort of stuff. Yeah. In truth, past year, I probably used mine 4 times. Full-time terrain maker. I prefer a blade. Simple as. And I can get much... There are definitely tasks that are simpler with a hot wire cutter. Definitely. Yeah. But a lot of the time when you're using high density foam, it's thick high density foam. Yeah. They can actually be a hell of a lot slower. Sometimes I just prefer get a serrated blade in there and get through it. Yeah. Sometimes they can be difficult to control. A simple little twist of your hand can throw a cut off quite easily, and in a weird way as well. Yeah, you don't get that with a blade. And so generally, I only fall back to hot tools if I really need to fall back to hot tools. And the only my main task that I fall back to hot tools for is beveling sheets of foam to have to have a nice smooth like bevel on them for doing so models can stand on them. So hills, slopes, that sort of stuff. Yeah, and the only reason I say that is because my hot wire foam factory cutter, yeah, it's got sort of an extended cut like that. So it has a nice long cutting sheet, and the cutting length on the hot wire foam factory cutter, yeah, is just, I mean, literally a couple of millimeters, but just long enough that it can cut out a 1 in 3 slope on 2-inch foam in one cut. And obviously a 1 in 3 slope is what you need for 28mm models to be able to stand on it. So it basically means I can cut out a slope I can use, a playable slope, in one cut. But no, they are handy, yeah, but generally, you know, 2-3% of my terrain time spent using them. Do you know what I mean? I don't use them much. I see so many YouTubers making things with just hot wire tools, and it kills me what they don't show how to do without. Yeah. Not denying that. What do you call it? I have this tendency when I approach a video, yeah, and this has been a thing that I've done for a long time, is I have this thing where I only use, yeah, the simplest of tools and materials. Yeah, the reason being is that if I use a hot wire cutter, yeah, to make a hill, it gives the impression to anyone watching that video that they need a hot wire cutter to make a hill, and therefore they're not going to even attempt to make a hill, yeah, without a hot wire cutter. And that's a barrier to building. Now, I'm here to help people build. And so if I can make a hill using a blade, yeah, well, everyone can get their hands on a blade. So that it's not a barrier to them building it. It's the same with the paints. You know, it's why you see me just using craft acrylics, and why you see me using house paints, and I'm not using specialist stuff. Because I want people to feel like they can nip down the local DIY store, pick up a couple of tester pots, and jump straight in. It's why, I prefer fillers and stuff like that for getting textures and all this sort of stuff, and I stay away from modelling compounds. I mean, I own them. I've got you wouldn't believe the sort of modelling stuff I've got. But generally when I do my tutorials, I stick with the simple stuff. If I'm doing top-end work, yeah, especially stuff that I know that I really don't want to screw this up, you know what I mean? Then I'll use the more professional stuff, the more expensive stuff. And that's because it's more reliable. But generally I keep it really simple because I don't want the barriers. You know, if you see a tutorial and you know, the guy's building something with, a Proxen, that suggests you can't even attempt it without a Proxen. I mean, I was making terrain for 15 years before I got my first hot wire tool. So they are not by any way essential. Even prisoners can get a blade. True! Interesting analogy there. I wouldn't attempt to cut 12,000 bricks out of pink foam without using a hot wire cutter. You see, I would. I'd just get a steel rule and a blade and line them up and then. I mean, it does come down. I mean, I think fundamentally, and this is a bit from the book. Yeah, I explain this in the book. So, your tools come down to, yeah, your essentials, yeah, which are perhaps a handful of tools, literally 5, yeah, tops, and you will do 90% of your work with those 5 tools. Then you'll have your regulars, and these will be tools that you don't, they're not your essentials and they're not always in your hands, but when you get to that stage, they're your go-to tools. Yeah? And they will do about another 8% of your work. Yeah? And the remaining 2% will be done by your occasionals. And those will be tools that sit on a shelf gathering dust. Yeah? And they're only really useful for a couple of jobs. But they do those jobs so well, which is why they deserve to be bought and spend most of their time not used, because the amount of frustration they take out of really difficult jobs. Like, for example, cutting a trench into foam. Cutting a trench into foam is a pain in the backside job to do with a blade. It's doable, yeah, but it's a pain, especially if it's not all the way through the foam and you want, say, halfway or a third of the way through the foam. Yeah, so a hot wire router in that case, job done, well happy. Yeah, but that router's still going to spend the vast majority of its time sitting in its box. And so tools fall into your essentials, your your regulars, and your occasionals. And things like hot wire tools, yeah, they fall into the sort of regulars, occasionals. I think there's a tendency, yeah, when you get hot wire tools to think that all foam cutting should be done with hot wire tools. Yeah, and it becomes your go-to tool. And I work differently. You know what I mean? I step up to a tool from my regular tool or my essential tool if I need to, rather than it being the default. So there you go. There's a little snippet on tools. People are messaging me. Lots. How about how to make terrain with a prison shank? I don't think I'll be putting that information out there. But no, you don't need, Frank, you don't need a hot wire cutter. But you should ask your wife to get you one for Christmas. Alright then, right, next question. Remember guys, if you are liking the stream, links down below. We are getting stuff for the Teddy Bear Terrain Lab. Teddy Bear Terrain Lab? The Fur Terrain Lab. It sounds like I'm experimenting on teddy bears. Joanne's saying, is there a way to send you something? Too poor to donate, but want to show you my gratitude. It's appreciated, mate. If you do want to send me something, send me an email, mate, and I'll send you the studio address and you can send it to there. Okay? But don't feel obliged to donate, and if your money is tight, then don't donate. I'm a YouTuber. If your money's tight, you need it more than I do. Yeah, I'm just after some teddy bear fur and some paints and dyes and stuff to mess around, some hairbrushes. Yeah, I want to experiment with a load of different hairbrushes and stuff, figure out which of that. So I've got to buy. Have you seen how expensive hairbrushes are? I mean, clearly I haven't had the need to buy a hairbrush in a while. Yeah? But Jesus, what? It's a hairbrush. I mean, I can buy litres of paint for cheaper.
How much are you charging?
Yeah. I'm just having a rant about hairbrushes and how expensive they are.
Yeah. Like you keep nicking willows.
Well, I can't nick willows for doing teddy bear fur painting, can I?
No.
So I've got to buy a load. Do you know how stupid it is? Me going wandering around at the local store looking for hairbrushes. Are these the? Have you got any finer bristled ones? And they look at me like, you don't need finer bristled ones.
They don't know what you want to brush with them, do they?
A Wingate special. I'm not doing my teddy bear.
I'm your eyebrows. Pass me it.
Not with a toothbrush.
Yeah, Kat's just said the same thing for Poundland.
I tried.
No, they do have them in that. You know that one on Fenton, in Victoria Road, Fenton.
Poundland at Victoria.
Yeah, next to across the road from Asda.
Oh, right, okay. What's it, Vicky Road?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Wide tooth comb and brushes, Mal. Yeah, but I need to get them. You know what I mean? Try the Tangle Teaser hairbrush. Tangle Teaser. You sure that isn't one of those dual hairbrushes that you get from Ann Summers parties, you know, where the handle detaches? for discreet, like hiding it. Hey, Wise Monkey. John's in the leather craft by trade. Would love to make you something. I've got a few leather workers. Jez is a leather worker. Cat saying combs are actually better for the fur. Can direct it easier. This is why I want a collection of different things. Yeah, because it's not just about combing it. It, you know, a lot of the research I've done, you know, you use the combs to move the paint through the material. Okay, and so I want to see what the different combs do. You know, is a knit comb better than than a normal comb? You know, or the fine brush, bristled brushes better than the sort of bigger tangle ones? Visit Sweden's west coast and I'll teach you. And yeah, if the book goes well and I survive it, then I think a European trip is on the books. It's on the books. Seriously, hairbrushes are as cheap as dirt. Mate, when I went looking for them, they weren't. But no, obviously, someone's saying Poundland, Kez is saying, so I'm going to go check out Poundland and see what we can do there. If you'd like to donate towards Mel's hairbrush supply. Yeah, links down below, guys. Patreon, PayPal. I should put them on my... No, I'm not putting hairbrushes on my Amazon wish list. I'll get the ripped out of me. Right then. Tetrix again, alright? Hey Mel, me again. Is using computer parts good for the creation of a future... Good for the creation of future area good? Right, I do this all the time. I write questions and stuff, and you know, I throw the wrong words in and stuff like that. Yeah, is using computer parts good for the creation of future area good? Right, I think what you're basically sort of asking, mate, is can you use computer parts for making like sci-fi terrain and that sort of stuff? Yes, you can. Yeah, and it works great, and you can do some great things with it. Whenever a computer dies, one of the first things I do is strip it of its fans, large elements, all that sort of stuff. They can make great details. They can make great electrical boxes for foam walls and stuff like that. The one caveat that I will give you, yeah, is make sure, yeah, especially with big electrical items, yeah, not so much like smaller stuff, but big electrical items. When you see things that look like batteries, little round things, yeah, often like a block with two wires coming out of them, they're called a capacitor. And the capacitor's job is to store electrical charge. And these capacitors can save their electrical charge long after the thing has been switched off. Yeah, so when you're breaking stuff and you're snapping them off, if those two connectors touch with, say, your skin or something like that, and it's still got a charge in it, you can give yourself quite a nasty electrical charge. Yeah, electric shock. And you can even give yourself an electrical burn. Now, with electrical burns, the important thing to understand is, if you get an electrical burn, and you can see a burn mark, yeah, on the outside of your skin, yeah, there will be a burn mark all generally with an electrical burn, you'll get a burn on where the electricity enters your skin and a burn where it leaves. So on a capacitor, in on the positive probe, out on the negative. Yeah, when you get an electrical burn by holding something electric, typically it's burn on the hand, yeah, and then normally it via the foot and you'll get a burn on the foot. Yeah, but yeah, you will also have exactly the same burning all the way through that electrical path inside your body. So electrical burns are really quite serious, even small ones. Okay, so take a special care when you're dealing with the capacitors when you're recycling electrics. Yeah, the rest generally is inert. There's various regulations that stop them having things that are too damaging. I would recommend that you don't break bits up. Yeah, there can be all sorts of weird chemicals and stuff inside electrical components. Yeah, clipping wires and separating them from the PCB board is perfectly fine. But starting to break electrical components, not the best of ideas. Yeah, JP saying capacitors need to be discharged. Short them before using them. So basically what you do to short them is, say, get a metal ruler. Yeah, and then just put those two prongs that come out of them there. In fact, my best advice for you is, if it's got some sort of blocky shape and 2 wires or 3 wires perhaps coming out of it, because they might, I don't know if they do, but they might have 3 wire capacitors. Not sure, but we'll check. Yeah. If they've got a couple of wires, just short them anyway. Yeah. If you're not sure if it's a capacitor, treat it like a capacitor. And all you got to do to short it and just discharge it is just basically press those prongs on a bit of a metal so the electric charge can discharge out. Started hitting a broken computer with a hammer. Taking the fans for wind turbines and the bases and using the motherboard for future things. Yeah, that's fine, mate. Just be careful with smashing things. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what's inside that component. And you can have all sorts of rare earth elements. I mean, I discovered that, I think, you know, on the, on the SA, what they call it, the SA-80. The British military assault rifle. The telescopic sight on that has, I'm not sure if it's mercury or something else in it, in the electronics or something. And if you break that, you literally have to get it off your weapon, just wang it as far as possible, because it can kill you. Smart design, that. Also, note to viewers and builders, if you're using an electric blender, they will often make use of different capacitors and can carry a charge after switching off. This means you can lose fingers. Wait. Right, yeah, okay. I was about to say, well, yeah, I've just said that. But no, with a blender, yeah, that's quite a good point. Yeah, if there is charge still in it and it can spin those blades. Yeah, tell you what, let's just make a rule. You can salvage, but don't salvage electronics from a blender, eh? Mercury. Was it mercury that was in the SUSAT? I can remember everyone talking about it. Yeah, a few people are saying mercury. What was it in there for? Does anyone know? I'll tell you what, that bloody SUSAT weighed a ton. Well, not an actual ton. Sir, what era do you prefer building for the most? Modern, fantasy, historical, or sci-fi? In the SUSAT makes the reticle illuminate. So the mercury was to illuminate the reticle. How does mercury illuminate a reticle? I would have thought it'd be something that glowed. You know, like radium, where we used to have like the green little radium, painted on like clock hands and stuff for the glow in the dark, yeah, radiation it. For the glow-in-the-dark watches. I know that some of the sites contain deuterium. I can remember we had to attend a seminar on how to treat, I think it was mercury inhalation, when they brought out the SUSATs, because I was a medic at the time. Mercury for levelling? I can't see why it needs levelling. I mean, mercury, that's what it's a liquid metal you normally use for levelling. But I don't know why it would be used for levelling in a site. See, we've got completely off topic. Tritium is often used to illuminate reticles. I've never heard of mercury being used. See, right, we need an answer on this. Okay. Mercury in SUSAT sites. Okay. Well, according to the SUSAT Wikipedia, it doesn't even contain the term I found something called the Arsopedia, which is the British Army, a version of of Arsopedia. Trilux sights used to be used on the SLRs. This is an optical unit that can be mounted on the SA-18 LSW, though it has been seen mounted on other support weapons of late to provide 4+ optical magnification. The adjustment wheel on the side allows radioactive tritium inside to illuminate the aiming point. Right. So it wasn't mercury, it was, it was essentially tritium, but, you know, the idea that turn it up, yeah, so imagine you open it, you then got illumination. All right, then. Right, cool. See? Yeah. I'm really I'm really fine. I found Arsopedia. Arsopedia is a wiki, just like Wikipedia for the British Army. Yeah, and not quite 100% serious. I'm gonna lose time on this. Okay, very quickly. RAMC. Combat medical technician. The backbone of the Royal Army Medical Corps. They provide the infrastructure for all of the trades to apply theirs. The frontline evacuation. Standard class 2 and class 1. CMTs work in field units in TTHAR's field hospitals. Cracking putting tents up, painting boxes in, and in the good old ways of military hospitals, they could be found at reception answering the telephones. Some have delusional belief that the CMT Class 1 qualification is the equivalent of a paramedic and will enable them to walk straight into a job on the rigs once they leave the army. Definitely not true. It is the equivalent of a civilian paramedic, but you ain't going to get a job in Civvy Street once you've been an army medic. But to be honest, on the whole, CMT is alright. Wonderful collection of individuals, mighty of arm and quick of intellect, all ready with a good yarn. They have a predilection for strong drink. Yeah, hot curries. Or should that be put the other way around? The reason being, yeah, is that the Army Medical Service base was based in Aldershot, which is also where the paras were. So if you're in Aldershot, you had to drink hard, yeah, and the only eateries were curries. Yeah, and will act as a diagnoser of your ailments while you talk to him and a whore at the bar, or during a live stream. Oh, I'm going to lose so much time on that. Right, sorry about that, guys. Right. Okay, I've got 2 more questions. Yeah, I'm going to switch the question doc off now. So we've just got these 2 questions. Where were we getting mercury from then? I think that's a tale that got bandied around when I was in. If you're out of ammo and you've used your last grenade, just rip the sight off your weapon and chuck it at the enemy. Do you know how much you get billed for that? SQMS and Storm Man, he doesn't care if it was the only thing you could throw. If you've been signed for it, you better bring it back, mate. Ammunition is probably the only thing that you've signed for, and you don't have to bring back. Although they get rather upset if you don't bring back your brass. See, Tam's there with what you call it. Have you seen the new bolt action Korea MASH unit? It's a hoot. I haven't. Have they actually done a MASH unit? See, I did a MASH unit for my 40k army, for my Corbania Prime. I turned a Chimera into a 432 armoured ambulance. You know, I had the treatment tent, the guys with the stretchers, even had Doc Savage with a bone saw. Right, guys, I'm writing this up. So, the final shout out. Listen, if you do want to help me with the teddy bear stuff, we have got a few more paints and stuff to get and dyes. And I have got hairbrushes to get. So, I would appreciate it if you do like the streams. Links down below to send some nuggets, guys. Yeah, and we'll get those so we can nail that teddy bear stuff. In the meantime, I've got 2 questions left. Yeah, so let's crack on. Okay, Patrick B. Mal, do you have access to a 3D printer so we can paste homemade 3D print file on the terrainiacs page? I don't have access to a 3D printer. It is something I'm looking to get into, but this will be post-book, so much later in the year. So I'm starting to explore 3D printing very gently. You know what I mean? I'm not going full bore for it because I've got a lot of other things I need to delve into, but there's part of me which is sort of saying, look, Mel, you're going to be doing this terrain tutor thing. It looks like it for a good long period yet. This is, fingers crossed, this will be the last job I have. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'd like it to be a lengthy job. I'm not one that's looking for an early retirement. I'm looking to work well and, you know, into my late life. So with that in mind, I'm conscious I don't want to get a bit too far behind the times. Now, I know there's been a very early adoption of 3D printing in the hobby, but it hasn't become the norm yet. And what I need to do is make sure that I'm conversant with the technology before it becomes the norm for people. Now, there's a chance it may never become the norm because it may never get the consumer appeal that it needs to make consumer devices cheap and easy enough to get out and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but if it does, I need to be on the ball, and so I do need to invest time into 3D printing. Yeah, so it is something, yeah, that, I've got to look at. But I don't have one as yet. There is actually a thread on the terrainiacs page. I posted a question last night looking for 3D printer recommendations. So if you're pretty hot on the 3D printing, go to the go to the terrainiacs page. Links down below in the description. Go have a look at that thread and throw your comments on there. I would appreciate it, to be perfectly honest. Right, last question then, last shout out, last check. Okay, Kat. You can tell Kat knows when the end of the show is coming because she always throws this question in. What's the schedule for the next couple of weeks? Well, Kat, let me tell you. Yeah, all right. You have, the rock tutorials are, you've got your rock tutorials this Tuesday and next Tuesday. They're already filmed. Yeah, I'm editing them up for tomorrow. The first one is a rock video on doing sandstone. That I've killed 2 birds with 1 stone because I've done yellow sandstone and I've done red sandstone and I've done it in striations. Yeah, so technically I've killed yellow sandstone, red sandstone and striated sandstone. Fingers crossed on that one. The one after that, yeah, is volcanic rock. Okay, so this Tuesday we're doing sandstone. Next Tuesday we're doing volcanic rock. Just doing my job, Kat says. Yeah. Thursday, yeah, we're going to be messing around with the teddy bear fur. We might have an interim terrain lab video, or we might net the Thursday after have more teddy bear fur and have the terrain lab video after that. Okay? So we'll see on that. But teddy bear fur is where my focus is at the minute. Once the teddy bear fur is done, yeah, I'm going to be going back and fingers crossed I'll be coming close to the end of the book. So I'll start to plan a really in-depth sort of hour video, back to basics style, on acrylic battle mats. And that'll be the whole shabam. Not a quick, this is how you do it, but this is everything. Everything I know so far. You know, it'll be one of those knowledge dumps. Okay, so that's the sort of schedule. So that's what we've got coming up. Right, I'll do 111. Mel, did you get a chance to go to Fred's showing today? I didn't know Fred had a showing today. I saw Fred was in my house yesterday and he didn't bloody mention he had a showing today. Right. Very quickly, I will check the last of the PayPals, but see if there's anyone who needs a shout out. I'm guessing no, because I haven't had any whatchamacallits, but... Oh, Graham! I think... No, that was 7 days ago. No, Mike was the last. We've got what we need. Yeah, no, I didn't get to see Fred's showing today, so... Bit knackered on that one. Right, guys, and we have had a good show. We've had a really good show. I'd like to thank the 2 donators. Yeah, thank you for that, guys. I'll be buying hairbrushes for that. Don't take the mick. Yeah, and... Yeah, market show at the studio. Market 28, I think it was called. Studio 28. Yeah, that's the studio. I didn't know he had an exhibition there. Yeah. I'll have to go and check it out. I'm in the studio tomorrow, so I can go check it out. That's not a problem. Right, guys. Tutorial video will come out on Tuesday. Right, I'm very quickly going to check the weather. Yeah, to see what the likelihood of the heat wave coming back is. Just so I can sort of make a decision on the Thursday show. Right. High of of 19 degrees. We can do that. Thursday, we'll be in the studio, yeah, doing the teddy bear stuff. So, I will see you Tuesday with a video, and I'll catch you live back again on Thursdays. And in the meantime, guys, yeah, we won't brush you off, Mel. Bell, you kid. Alright, so guys, listen, you have a great time. Thanks for your support, guys. It is genuinely appreciated. I couldn't do this without you. Yeah, so, until I see you again, all the best. Thank you.